Hey everybody, it's Tony with Big T Bariatric, and I'm back at you with another live stream. And I have Greg from Life After Losing with me. I will introduce him more in a moment. We'll talk about his stuff, but I thought I'd give a couple minutes to let people come in. And I absolutely did not pick that scary theme of countdown music. I don't know why that one came on, but is anybody out there? Hello. How are you? How's everybody doing this Saturday? We got 5 people watching. I guess we can kick it off here a little bit. So this is Greg. Greg, how are you doing today?
Hey, I'm good. How are you?
Good, good. He says, I like the scary music.
Yes.
So,
it might get scary depending on what we're talking about. Who knows?
Yeah. Weight loss is scary to yes. Some people. Just ask any of the fat activists. You say fat loss or weight loss or diet, and they start shivering.
Yeah, I could go off on a tangent for sure.
There'll be plenty of time for that. So, Greg, tell us a little bit about your channel, what it's called, and kind of the type of content that you put out there.
Yeah, so it's called Life After Losing. It actually originally started off as Fat to Fit Gregory is what I started off as, but over time I didn't want the focus to be about me. I wanted it to be more about just bariatric surgery in general, and not just about my story. So it kind of changed into more of like I wanted it to be more motivational, just kind of talk about my experience with bariatric surgery, and then kind of the feelings that come after losing weight and the kind of the emotional roller coaster of it, and the good parts of it and the bad parts of it. You know, the problems you have with relationships, the problems you have with jobs, you know, and just the perspective of what life was like before and what life is like after. And so just it became more like that. And so I'm like, this channel is not even really about me, and I don't want it to be about me because of, you know, the more I think about the long term of the channel, I want it to be more like where I'm interviewing people who've had weight loss surgery, and I want to talk to them about, you know, how their career has improved since having weight loss surgery, and how their life has improved or how it hasn't improved, you know, like what kind of issues they're having. And so I don't want it to be about me. So that's why I changed the name. And I don't know if I think I kind of did that halfway through, and I might have gotten lost a little bit in that change, but it's okay. It's a long-term goal. So yeah, that's what it's about now. And I'm actually doing, I kind of got bored with the whole thing, so I kind of am doing like a little series right now too, about like different like fitness icons. So they're like little 30-minute like documentaries about different fitness icons, and it's just to kind of keep me interested in making videos. And yeah, I'm learning a lot about different people that I had no clue, like Richard Simmons and Suzanne Summers, and now I'm working on Jane Fonda and Susan Powder, that like Stop the Insanity lady. So I'm like working on all these different things, and it's interesting, and it's actually a lot more motivating than I ever thought it was going to be. Just because you see like Suzanne Summers, for example, just the fact that she took, you know, getting fired from her job on Three's Company and was like, okay, well, I'm going to turn this into something else. And it's kind of like, I can take, you know, you're overweight, and it doesn't mean that you're stuck in one thing either. You can also, you can take that and turn your life into something else as well. So it's motivating for me in that way too.
By the way, I put the link to your YouTube channel here in the comments. So if you're not subscribed to Life After Losing, please subscribe. It's a great channel. I watched a couple of his last videos where he does talk about Richard Simmons and people who have been doing that. And And I thought that that was pretty good. You know, one of the things that I've struggled with too was figuring out ways to keep my channel going, because it's like when I really started, it's like there's only so much I can talk about myself and what I'm doing. And it got repetitive. Oh, I'm eating this, I'm eating that. And then when I eat a lot of the same things, it's like, well, I'm not going to keep going and talking about what I'm eating, or, you know, I'm going to get on the scale once a week. So should I film that? You know, and so that's kind of got me into doing like more my 600-pound life reactions, talking about that stuff and sort of interacting in a way of showing people, yeah, this is exactly what it was like for me too. And I got one of those videos coming out here. I'm still fighting TLC on being able to release it, but hopefully I'll be able to get it out here soon. People have been wondering where my videos have been. I had somebody, are you making any more videos anymore? I'm like, I am. I filmed some, and then I'm fighting the copyright on them because I'm not going to release them, and then they block them, and then I'm not going to make money off of them and all that stuff. So
Exactly.
I do have more content out, people. You don't have to be worried about that. But then I started doing the fat activist stuff, and even that's sort of getting boring for me now. And so just trying to find ways of keeping good content going that people want to watch and be interested in at the same time. But the one thing I do keep getting more people saying is, Big T, we want to know more about how you're doing. What was your experiences like being almost 700 pounds? Excuse me. So what would you say is some of your experiences at your heaviest weight, and how much did you weigh?
Okay, so I had gastric bypass to lose the weight. And so I was an obese child probably since I was 2, 3. I remember,
Mhm.
like people making comments when I was very little and about my weight. And so at my highest weight, I was probably 420 pounds.
Okay.
And when I went in to do the, all the classes and things like that for gastric bypass, I had to lose 20, as kind of part of the program. And so when I had the surgery, I was down to like 395 when I ended up having the
Mm.
surgery. But before that, I was like 420 pounds. And even when I was at my healthiest weight, it was probably like 310, like around there. It was like my teenage, probably maybe even mid 20s is probably when I felt my healthiest. I was probably in, the low to mid threes. And that's kind of where I always stayed. Um, so yeah, it was a very, um, I grew up bullied, not just from kids, but from, even family members, like just saying things about my weight constantly. Um, so yeah, that was kind of I wouldn't say it definitely wasn't motivating to be made fun of. It kind of I think pushed you more into obesity.
Yeah.
And again, like that whole like Richard Simmons thing, he said something in his and I have it in that video too. He was in an interview and he said something about when you're a child and you're made fun of at school all day and you come home and you eat food and then it makes you feel good because you're not
Mhm.
like alone anymore. And I was like, oh my god, that like it's exactly how I felt as a kid. Like you have no friends in school,
Yeah.
and then you come home and you have something. Like something that makes you feel good. And so that's kind of it's almost conditioning yourself to use food as that comfort. And so yeah, I think that, like a lot of my content is just talking and just my experience with life after that and how
Yeah.
I how trying not to not to have those feelings anymore.
So is that what you would think is your driver to gain weight? Is you just sort of associated food with good feelings because you were being bullied, or was there other deeper stuff going on too?
Oh yeah, and I was gay as well, so that was another thing too. So I had um you know feelings about not wanting to be gay, and then
Yeah.
I was already conditioned with the food as having a good, making me feel good about that, about my weight, and then um, using that as a shield to not not as a shield, but more like as a way to hide that. You know,
Yeah.
like almost I'd rather have people make fun of me for my weight than make fun of me for that. You know,
Yeah.
kind of the thing.
Yeah, it's kids are absolutely terrible. Um, just like this comment, bullying is the worst. Um, I actually had a different experience. I wasn't bullied because one of the things that I learned, and maybe even learned too as a fat kid, is to be funny. And so when you're being funny and joking around, and for me, when we went out to recess, I would intentionally run into the basketball poles, the basketball hoops. I'd run into the poles and fall over and had everybody laughing in stitches and stuff, and just hurt myself intentionally just to make people laugh so that they wouldn't bully me for my weight. And a lot of my childhood, I didn't understand why I was bigger than everybody else. But now afterwards, I saw myself and the patterns that I took on, such as, for example, I would say, wow, my sister eats just as much food as I am. How come I'm big and she's not? And so I had that excuse growing up. And then now I could look back and think, wow, I didn't just finish my plate, which had more food on it than anybody else's in the family. But whatever my sister didn't eat, I would beg her for her plate. And then I'd go back if there was, seconds or thirds or anything. So, did you have a moment in your childhood where maybe you were in denial about some of your eating behaviors?
Oh yeah, always. And it's funny because I have a brother too, and we're very similar in so many ways. Like we look alike, we kind of sound similar, and we're built like very similar. And so he's like a little bit less than 2 years younger than me, and he was thin growing up, so I would think the same thing. Like, we live in the same house, we eat the same things, but, you know,
Mhm.
yeah, we would eat the same thing at dinner time, but I would always go back and have something else, like, and have a snack or have whatever, or eat something after school that maybe he wasn't eating. He was also way more active. Like he had way more friends than I did too,
Yep.
and he played basketball and played this and did that. Where I was just kind of like, you know, I was I was the one who stayed home, so I didn't have that physical activity. So maybe we might have eaten the same amounts technically, but he was burning it off, whereas I wasn't at all. So,
Yeah, that was definitely me too. Like she was always out with her friends, and I would hide up in my room and spend a lot of my time up there. When I was in high school, I remember one summer where I was very active. I was playing in the pool. I was wrestling around, playing football. I'd ride my bike to my friend's house a mile or two down the road, and we'd do wrestling on a trampoline there. And I remember just before school started, after that summer, I had gained like 60 pounds and I couldn't figure it out. And that really fueled a lot of my excuses for, hey, I'm being active. What's going on? But, just also thinking back, like I remember coming home and there being a thing of KFC gravy and just drinking the gravy because I was so hungry and there was no other food. Just absolute terrible behavior like that. What are some of your most shameful things like that when it comes to food that you've guzzled down because you just like needed that fix?
oh man, yeah, I don't remember anything in particular like that. But I'm trying to think. I mean, I still have like those fat tendencies too. Like
Yeah.
I love taking shredded cheese and like melting it in a microwave and then like eating like the melted shredded cheese. I freaking love that. I still do
Yeah.
it now, admittedly.
Yeah,
But
put it
like,
on saltine crackers or Ritz
oh,
crackers and just melt a bunch of cheese on it.
oh my god, when it gets like that, those burnt rubbery edges, oh, it's the best. It's like one of my favorite things. And then like just eating like whole sleeves of like thin mints
Mhm.
and those rich frosted Entenmann's donuts. I could just like down almost like a whole like dozen of those, like or actually they come in 8 packs. I could down a whole like 8 pack of those. Um, Me and my brother always used to say too, like when we got because my brother like ended up gaining weight as he got older, and never as much as me, but a little
Yeah.
bit. And then we always said like when we get thin, we're gonna like have a whole like 8 pack of Entenmann's donuts and eat them all. And I never I still haven't done it yet, but I've always like even at my thinnest weight, I've always said I still have like 15 pounds to go, and I still have 15 pounds to go. So thankfully, I don't think I'll ever get to that weight where I can eat a whole, you know, pack of Entenmann's donuts. So
Yeah. All right, guys. If you could do me a huge favor, hit that like button down there. It'll help expand this chat. More people will see it. And I put the link to his channel here in the comments. If you can go and subscribe to his channel, I would appreciate it. It's a very good channel. So if you like my content, you'll really like his content. And how many subscribers do you have now?
oh God, I don't even know, like less than 900.
Less than 900.
Yeah.
Let's help push this guy over 1,000 if you can. Even if you're watching this later on, go look up Life After Losing, and I'll try to put a link down in the comments once we're done with this chat too, and we'll go in there. So let's see. I'm 72 and I still remember middle school bullying. Sad thing is the bullies all ended up with tragic lives. Yeah.
That's good. You won, right?
Yeah, I mean, a lot of the times, they were just as miserable, but probably even more so in order to bully other people. They did that to give themselves some sort of power, and so they probably went through a lot of the worst things that that we weren't. I mean, we were going through some terrible things, but
yeah, and I was lucky. Like I had childhood wise, I was lucky. I had like good parents, and I wasn't abused. I wasn't, there wasn't anything like that. So my horrible experience was in school, and I had, of course, you had family members that talk shit, but it wasn't my immediate family.
Yeah.
So my immediate family was good. So I know that there was a lot of bullies out there who their immediate family was the issue. So you kind of almost have empathy for them too. As I get older, I did, but not when I was a kid.
Not them, yeah. When I gave up my 2-pack-a-day cigarette habit, I started food binging, and gained 65 pounds in 8 months. One day, I ate so much Taco Bell and Burger King, I vomited in my car. That was embarrassing. Yeah, well, that was definitely a moment there. It's good to see you, Steph, by the way. She's one of my first subscribers. So that kind of brings a good question. What point did you get to when you had, and I talk about on my channel a lot, the rock bottom moment when you're like, I can't do this anymore. I need surgery. And I often talk about surgery being a last resort effort when you just cannot do it on your own. You struggled, and you're so miserable being fat. You're done with it. Like, you don't want nothing to do with it. So what was your sort of rock bottom moment, and what are some of the steps that you kind of started to take?
Yeah. So, it's funny because I ended up having bypass surgery when I was 38, and so
Me too.
probably what's that?
Yeah, I was 38 too, and I had it.
32. Yeah. So I'm like 40, almost 46 now. But yeah, I am probably 5 years before that. I actually went to the initial classes, now, or maybe even might have been before that. Might have been 8 years ago. 8 years before that, I took the classes. Yeah, actually, that's right. I was 30 when I originally took the classes to have gastric bypass, and I was like, no, I'm not going to do it. I can do it on my own. Even though I've tried it, probably 50 times, on my own before then. I was always trying. Ever since I was a kid, I was always trying to lose weight, and in my 20s, I put in like the most effort, and is when I probably went from like 375 to like I think like 293, I think I was for a day, and then it went back up to like 305, and it stayed there for most of my 20s. And so, and that was like working out every day and whatnot, but I'd never had my diet correct, and I think that I tried to do that without any type of guidance from a dietitian or a trainer or anything like that. I should have, while I was on that path, instead of saying, I'm not going to have a gastric bypass surgery, I'm just going to do it on my own, I should have taken advantage of using the dietitian, at least, that was there, and said, I want to do it on my own, but what should I be eating, you know, and things like that. Um, so I think that's always like the first step is having talking to a dietitian, and also having some type of mental health counseling. I think that was something that was always missing. And I think so. My mom died in 2010.
Oh, I'm sorry to hear that.
Oh, thank you. So she died in 2010. She had a massive stroke, and so she wasn't like morbidly obese, but she was like overweight. And so after that, it was kind of I put on more weight after that. Like at first, I
Yeah.
lost weight. I didn't feel like eating, but then I put on more weight after that, and it was kind of like, you know, you don't realize it at the time. But I think I was kind of like there was like a lot of pressure on me at that time. Just
Mm.
you know, my grandparents died like 10 months before that.
Oh, wow.
Then my mom died, and then it was kind of like there was no there was no family really at that point anymore. So me being like the oldest one around, it was kind of like I felt like I needed to take the place of my mom in a way, like take over like holidays and be the one to kind of replace that part that was missing. And I think that pressure kind of made me gain more weight. And then I also ended up starting having panic attacks.
Yeah.
I thought I had a heart attack one time at work, and I think that there kind of scared me. And I was like, all right, well, if I'm gone, there's nothing I can do to help anybody else, anyways. So I need to start focusing on myself.
Yeah.
So and it took years. Like literally, my mom died in 2010, and it was 2017 by the time I had the surgery. So it took that long before that pressure and the weight gain like finally was like enough for me to snap and say I'm done. You know,
Yeah.
it's just crazy how long things take. And when you look back at things now, you're like, why didn't I just go like that within that year, you know, to ask for help or anything like that? It's just you just let things go and go and go, thinking that it's just going to eventually go away. But you know, it doesn't. So
Yeah.
yeah, it took me 7 years to finally realize that you needed help, that you couldn't do it on your own.
If any of you have any questions for Greg or myself, please put them in the comments there and we will get to them. Yeah, just your whole story really mirrors mine a lot. Like I was always the big kid, but it wasn't until my dad was killed in a work accident that I really like ballooned up. I was probably 250, almost 300 probably. And then it was from there I jumped up because I just turned to food so much more to deal with my dad's death. And so yeah, definitely. And when I was at my heaviest, I had people in my family who were encouraging me to get the weight loss surgery, and I was scared of it. I didn't want to do it, and I also understand that pressure because when my dad died, I'm the only brother to three sisters, you
Yeah.
know, and people were looking at me like, "You're going to take his place now," and I'm like, I'm still a young guy. I don't I don't even know what I'm going to do for the rest of my life, much less step in and be a dad to my sisters or
Right.
take care of things. And, we also lost the house because that's, my dad was paying for that and the mortgage was in his name. So, I almost became homeless as a result of that. And just like so much tragedy happened as a result of that. And even my family, like we used to get together every Christmas and have a Christmas party. And we haven't done that since he died. And that was in 2006. Our family has a cabin in northern Michigan, and I haven't been up there since then either. I only went up with him because that was his favorite place in the world. Mine too. I just haven't been able to go up there. So it's weird to see how just a death like that in the family really puts a lot of pressure on those, and just how that pressure can lead us to doing the worst things for our health, just to try to cope. Did you ever get into anything to help cope other than food? Was there drug use or anything like that, or was food pretty much?
No, it was always food. Thankfully, I never got into drugs or drinking or anything like that. Um, like even now, I mean, I could probably count on my hand on both, well, maybe both hands, how many times I've tried pot.
Yeah,
But drinking is never anything that I've. I mean, I even now I'll social drink. But it's not
yeah,
something that I enjoy. Like I'll have a drink but it's not something that I crave or enjoy. Um,
yeah. Especially after surgery, they tell us not to.
yeah, and I've had good experiences drinking after surgery, and I've had bad experiences, and it's probably 50-50. And the sad part is you don't know what day it's gonna be. Like
Yeah,
I've had experiences where I've had a couple drinks and I've been completely fine, and I've had experiences where I've had one and it was like a blackout. So it I just try not to do it at all unless I know that there's zero chance of me, having to drive or do anything or be embarrassed in front of anybody. So, so that makes it very limited, when I'll be able to even do it. So,
yeah. So, when you were going through that whole process, what was it like going through that process and getting that date when you were finally gonna get surgery? Were you nervous, terrified, excited, all in one?
um, I was actually kind of excited. I was excited. Um, and I think that I was ready at that point. I think that there was a point where I got kind of angry at myself for letting things get to that point where I even needed to have surgery. So I was like, and you probably feel the same way too. Like it's embarrassing that you
Yeah,
needed to have weight loss surgery. Like, why couldn't you do it on your own? Like because you hear so many people who are like, um, you can do it. You can do it on your own. Like it's the easy way out, and that's all I've heard.
yeah,
Like from the time I told anyone, that's like what you hear from people.
mhm.
And I think that after having it for 7 years, I could definitely say that it's definitely not easy.
No,
It has been, um, and I say the first 90 pounds that I lost was probably easier than 90 pounds I've lost before.
mhm.
But after that, the 100 pounds after that was hard, and maintaining it is very hard too. But yeah, I was excited, and I was excited because I felt like it was finally like my chance to feel normal
Yeah,
and to be normal. And I hate saying that because it's like what's normal. When I was young, that's
yeah,
why I always like idolized normal as being thin, and so like that's just was in my mind is that was normal. Being the only
yeah.
like morbidly obese person in the family too. That's definitely like you felt abnormal. So
Yeah, I never understood that. Like, if you're trying to do what you can to lose weight, whether it's using Ozempic, whether it's getting surgery, like if you're in that desperate of a state and they know you're miserable, like why is there such a pushback again from people who say, "Oh, you're taking the easy way out"? It's like, don't you think we've tried every other way? Like
right,
we just one day woke up and, "Oh, I'm going to get surgery today." It's like, how many diets, how many years have I failed dieting? And
yeah,
I didn't realize it was a mental thing at first. If I did, maybe I would have been able to be more successful at it, get some counseling first. But it was through that whole process. There was nothing easy about that process
yep,
because you do get the therapy, you do see a dietitian, you do have to lose weight on your own for a while before you even get approved for surgery. Your insurance has a bunch of requirements,
yep,
so it's they try to make it the safest process possible, and you have to get all kinds of scans and make sure you're healthy enough for it and you can survive it. And there's a lot that goes into the weight loss surgery. Why do you think a lot of people act like it's, oh, we're taking the easy way out, and like it's something to shame us about?
I think that, well, if it's coming from other obese people, I think it's a lot of it is a jealousy thing. Like maybe their
Yeah.
insurance doesn't cover it. I think a lot of insurances don't cover the surgery or won't cover the surgery, and I think that they might be frustrated with the fact that they can't get it. I was lucky that my employer, like, I've been working at the same employer for, it's been like 16 years now, but so I could have had the surgery 10 years before I even had it done. But you know I I didn't because I was thought I could do it myself.
Yeah.
But it was I was at that time, 15 years ago, 16 years ago, it was even more rare that an employer would cover that type
Mhm.
of procedure. It was considered cosmetic. It wasn't considered, that it was a disease or you were
Yeah.
unhealthy. It was all cosmetic. And so I was lucky that they, offered that. I think it's that, and I think it's a lot of it is fear. I think a lot of it is people are afraid that you're going to be different. Like you're not only going to look different, but you're going to be different. And so the
Yeah.
person that they knew is not going to be the same. And the truth is, you are different after. And I think that a lot of it is because you, like, for me, I grew up hiding. Like I was always hiding. Like I have a hard time finding before pictures of myself because I was
Yeah.
never in a photo.
Same.
Like I
No
would,
before pictures
and if I
anywhere. I
was in a
have
photo,
one.
it was like this.
Yep.
Like I would be hiding behind everybody in the back. Like it was never a full body shot. Like I have a very hard time finding photos of myself, unless somebody randomly took a photo that I didn't know or something. And like you just grow up hiding, and once you start losing the weight, you start getting more confident. You start figuring out who you are, and some people have a hard time with that. Like
Yeah.
they don't like that you're finding out who you are because they're still hiding, and I think that's part of the problem and why people try to say negative things about it.
Yeah. We have a couple comments here from Steph. Greg, are there any foods that you keep off limits because they're problematic and might cause a slip?
Oh yeah. There's things that I wouldn't say that they're going to cause me to slip, but like cake for some reason like will make me want to vomit. Like for some reason the it makes my heart race. It almost feels like I want to have a panic attack if I eat
Yeah.
cake. Also, fried foods make me sick. And I can have like a couple like French fries, but if I have too many, it's almost like it's almost like and it's funny because you can see like you almost look green, almost like you just don't look healthy after you eat things that are just wrong.
Yeah, French fries for me are the same. Like I don't know what it is about it. Maybe just because it is oil and grossness. But anytime I've had a French fry, like I just feel ugh.
Yeah, you just feel terrible. And
What's that term called again for especially bypass? Who if you eat sugar, you get really sick. I forgot the term of it.
like dumping syndrome.
Dumping syndrome. Yeah.
Yeah.
Have you had a lot of those experiences?
In the beginning, and then that to me that's kind of like my warning. Like that's from cake. Yeah, cake definitely makes me have dumping syndrome. One time I ate a mushroom and I didn't chew it well, and I just pretty much swallowed the mushroom. That gave me dumping syndrome because it was kind of like it went down there and it was kind of like it wasn't chewed, so
Wow.
it came right back up, and it was like I was sick for a little bit after that. Yeah, it's weird, but I almost think like in the beginning those are like good experiences because they kind of like teach you, like
Yeah.
teach your brain like don't eat this. And
Yeah.
if something makes you sick, you're not going to touch it, like But if something's delicious and it makes you feel good, you're gonna keep eating it. But
Yeah.
I almost say like in the beginning, like, and I tell people this, eat a piece of cake in the beginning because it is going to make you sick and it is
Mm.
going to make you not want it anymore. Eat the French fries, especially early on. Like
Yeah.
right now, I could eat French fries and it's probably not going to affect me as bad as it would have 4 years ago, 5 years ago. Um, but in the beginning, it would make me really sick. But now I don't really want them,
Yeah.
because of how they made me feel then. Um, and I don't know if you feel the same way too, but do you, when you ate fast food, like, I don't know if you tried fast food recently, but, or after having bypass, but it's almost like you can taste the chemicals.
Oh
Like
yeah.
it just tastes horrible. Like because you don't eat, because you're on that liquid diet for so long, and then you're on a liquid diet afterwards for so long. And then I was like, oh, I feel like having a McDonald's cheeseburger just to see how it is. And I eat it, and I'm just like, God, like I can't believe I actually crave this. How disgusting this thing actually is.
Yeah.
It just tastes like straight chemicals, but you don't realize that at the time. And now you can, after you're like detoxing from all that stuff for so long, and you go to eat it again, you can actually taste what's in it, and it's crazy.
Yeah, I mean, that whole chemical thing is just true. I mean, I get these keto yogurts, and my favorite one is coconut, and just like I eat them quite a bit, several of them per day as part of my diet. And then just all of a sudden, they just started tasting chemically. And I feel like I'm going to write them and say, did you guys change the recipe? Or am I just now hyper attuned to the, taste of chemicals, fast food and stuff as just some foods just went like gross for me, and I don't understand why. Like one of the things my dietitian wanted me to eat too was like the Dan and Light and Fit yogurts. Before surgery, that's what I was eating. After surgery, I could not stomach them. They did not taste good. Just a lot of things like that. I haven't had any soda because you're not supposed to because of carbonation. Have you had any since surgery?
Yeah, but I don't really care for carbonated stuff.
Yeah.
I will drink it, but it's rare, and like if I get a glass at a restaurant or something, sometimes I won't even drink the whole glass. It makes you feel like gassy, like, and yeah, I'm not. I wouldn't say that I don't drink it, but it's rare. Like I
Yeah.
drink any carbonated drinks. Yeah, and because of that, it does make me feel gassy, and it also makes you like feel like, I don't know, like, uh not that you're full, but it's hard to explain, but kind of, I guess it kind of makes you feel over full, I
Mhm.
guess, in a way. And then it's like you eat and then you drink a little bit of soda, and it's kind of like it makes you feel really uncomfortable, like you're like bloated and just weird. So yeah, I don't even really do it.
So next question: do either of you worry about just swapping addictions?
Mm, I used to, but luckily I'm not uh, a drinker or a drug user, so I never really worried about that. But um, in the beginning, I I thought I'd get addicted to like clothes shopping for a minute. Like I thought I was addicted to it, but I think it was more like because I had no clothes that fit me after losing, weight for a while, and it was fun to buy clothes that was like actually like in a normal store and not have to go to like Destination XL and different like stores like that. And I could, and clothes is way more affordable. Like when you're thin, like you don't have to
Mhm.
buy like $80 pair of jeans. Sometimes you can get them on sale for $19, and it's cheaper to buy clothes in smaller sizes.
Yeah.
Um, but so I was like, oh, I'm gonna get addicted to clothes shopping or whatever. But once I like replaced the clothes that I, you know, couldn't fit in anymore, and I got like a new wardrobe, I don't care about it anymore. Um, and then I also worried about getting addicted to like, or worried about getting addicted to like working out. But no, I don't. I'm not that addicted to that anymore. So I think like over time, like it kind of things kind of go away.
Yeah.
So I hope that when people do have gastric bypass surgery, I hope they have different outlets other than alcohol and drugs or cigarettes or anything like that. I hope they can find some other type of outlet other than, the bad addictions. Like,
Yeah.
get addicted to hiking, get addicted to camping, get addicted to, I don't know, like obsessively washing your hair. Like, get something like other than drugs, like I guess I obsess about certain things more too. Um I kind of obsess about aging now. And
Yeah.
I'm worried about, because I feel like I lost like 38 years of my
Yeah.
life. I don't want to be old now. So
Mhm.
I do worry about that. Um um so yeah, like that, it's like things like that. So I guess I don't know. Like, it's hard to say, but I also think therapy was a big help for that
Yeah.
too. Like, and I think I kept up with that even after having the weight loss surgery. It wasn't like, oh hey, I had weight loss surgery and I don't need to go to therapy anymore. Like, I went for like quite a few years after. And I think that when you started having like and also the nutritionist too,
Mhm.
because when I was losing weight, you always plateau. Like, I plateaued for probably 6 months, 7 months, at a time. And, like, I, a lot of it was because I changed from wanting to just be thin, 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 thin to like wanting to like lift weights. Well, when you do that, your diet needs to change. Like, um, I needed help to figure out, like, I couldn't eat the mass amounts of food that's required to lift certain amounts of weights,
Yeah.
because you can't consume that much. So, I needed help from a nutritionist to figure that out. And then just like the whole like mental thing, um, just figuring out why, not why, but figuring out how to deal with people treating you differently, how to figure out how to deal with, certain friends that would hang out with you and now they don't want to hang out with you anymore. And,
Mhm.
there's a whole lot of things that go on after the fact.
Yeah, the whole aging thing, man. I don't know if it's full blown midlife crisis or anything, but since I hit 40, like I have so many people say, "Big T, you don't look like you're 40 years old." They probably don't see me with my hat off, but
Yep.
it's just I lost so many years, so many decades of my
Yep.
life being fat and being stuck in my room and just kind of waking up to it now like, wow, I've never really been in a relationship. I've never really done all these things. Now I'm going back to school. Now I'm trying to make up for it and I'm doing way too much stuff and it's crazy trying to get things going. Um, as for the addiction question, I do have to watch out for it because I think some people do have a propensity to um, for addiction because like I have severe ADHD. And so people with ADHD, they have a lack of dopamine in their brain normally. And so they're more likely, studies are showing, to be addicted to something. My something was food. It was also brought on by a lot of the severe abuse and stuff I went through as a kid. But it's also, you're going to keep reaching for whatever it is that will give you that dopamine hit, that'll give you that make you feel good. And so I was addicted to painkillers at one point in my life. And so just things like that, I still have to watch out for certain kinds of foods. I'm still right now I'm craving pizza that I know I can't have because I'm broke. Um, I do got to watch out for that kind of stuff. I do have the occasional glass of wine with my sister, like over Christmas break. We'll have a glass of wine or something. Just one glass of my wine does me in. Like I can't drink more than that.
Yep.
Um, so you do have to be careful,
Yeah.
especially if you're one of those types of people that um, need to constantly be chasing that high. And so when you get rid of something, like I remember, like right after surgery, I told this story I think with Alex, just sitting there in my bed watching a Burger King commercial, and like I don't have any appetite, I don't want to eat anything, but I'm sitting there craving that burger. And I was probably craving it because I was craving that dopamine hit. Or like uh, the Halloween after, I told this story too, that, just sitting there crying because it's like normally I would deal with that, my dad's death, by eating a pizza. And I couldn't have that. This is, a week or so after surgery. So, um, yeah, this is not an easy process at all. And you're going to have to deal with the mental aspects of it. I mean, if you get to the weight that we were at, there's a reason for that. It's not just because I couldn't control myself. I mean, that's part of it, but there's something driving that. There's something that, you're chasing after that. Um, if you try to stop chasing after that, you're going to try to chase after something else.
Yep.
And so if you're lucky enough, I don't want to use the word luck because I don't think luck has anything to do with it, but if you're able to overcome that through therapy and get to a healthier frame of mind, that's going to be so much better for you. You're not going to want to or need to chase after anything when you're done with that.
Yeah, and I also want to like say too, like therapy doesn't necessarily have to require going to like an actual therapist. Like you're a religious person, it could be going to church, and it just, I think talking to someone,
Yeah.
that will, that you can talk to freely and that will give you good advice back in return is the most important thing. It doesn't have to be like a licensed therapist. You
Yeah.
just need somebody that you can talk to that's going to give you good advice. Because I think keeping those things in is what, first of all, it makes you go back to food, and it could not only just food, but it can make you go to other things too. Like you need to let those emotions out and talk to somebody about it.
Yeah, I've actually had people suggest that to me, that maybe I could start some sort of an accountability thing where, like a paid subscription type thing that, I could really help encourage other people to
news station alert has arrived.
to keep going, to, if they need that boost, some sort of somebody to talk to, especially now that I'm going to school for ministry and stuff like that,
Yeah.
it'll definitely be part of my program to counsel with people and stuff like that. So yeah, it's very important to have somebody to talk to, because a lot of the times we surround ourselves with enablers.
Yes.
And the people who don't give into our crap when we're constantly chasing that high, that they often either stop talking to us or we push them away, and we bring in close the people who are going to give us what we want. So it is important to talk to the people outside of that, the outside of the enablers, and just really open up and say, I'm struggling with this. Can you help hold me to account? Can you help me not to eat the crap? Let's go to a restaurant, but help order for me, and, keep me accountable for my actions and stuff like that. So, that's why I have to tell people, if you're trying to lose weight, have an accountability partner, have somebody who's going to be on the journey with you, not another fat person, right? Because it's so easy to talk yourselves into, yeah, we did good this week, we can go cheat.
Yeah.
And then before you know it, you're both off the wagon, so it's good to really have somebody who, is going to take part in the journey with you and really keep you going.
Yeah, and I say that too, like even when it comes to like going to the gym, like I always say, like I see a lot of people going to the gym, especially in the beginning of the year, and they want to go with a friend, and usually the friends are usually two like overweight people, you know, that's not a good idea,
Yeah.
like, and I think that usually what happens is one person stops going,
Yeah.
and then the other person stops going. I think when you're going to the gym, that commitment needs to be to yourself and
Yeah.
with yourself. You have to commit to yourself to going to that gym every day by yourself, and that's how you're going to start going every day. It needs to become a habit for you, not a habit where it's going to be codependent on your friend going.
Mhm.
Because what's going to happen is their kid's going to get sick. They're not going to be able to go. Something's going to happen in their life. They're not going to be able to go.
Mhm.
You can't rely on somebody else's life to make your life, like
Yeah.
it only has to be you. And that's the same thing. Like if you're, it's one, like go to the gym, but rely on a trainer that's there. Rely on somebody that is healthy,
Yeah.
who's going to motivate you to keep coming. Like, don't rely on the fat friend to keep you on track with your diet. It's just not gonna. It's not gonna work.
Have you ever watched Breaking Bad?
Oh, I love that show.
Yeah, I
Yes.
love it. It's like when Jesse and his friends go to rehab, but what are they doing? They're more inclined to sell drugs to all the other drug addicts there, or
Exactly.
you know, you can't go somewhere with another addict just like you,
Yep.
because you both have that same craving, and it's going to be so easy to talk each other into, give me a hit, or whatever it is that you're addicted to. So, now that you have lost this weight, how is your life now compared to when you were at your heaviest? Is it like 110% better? What are some things you're able to do now that you weren't able to do then?
Oh man, like pretty much anything. Like, on my when I was 40, the first time I was ever on a roller coaster was when I was 40 years old. So that was like now 6 years ago almost now. So that was the first time I was ever on a roller coaster. It was 6 years ago. And so think just something like that. I was like,
Mm.
I remember getting on the roller coaster and I was just laughing the whole time. But then afterwards, I was like, I'm too old for this. Like my neck hurt. Like this is like, I wish I would have did this that 20 years ago.
Yeah.
I just was too big for the roller coasters, like back then. But you know, it's nice to know that I can do it. But sometimes I'm just like, I'm too old to do certain things now. I'll break easily now. Um, but I think that the best part is just having the best part is knowing you can do things, um, even though you might not necessarily do them.
Yeah.
It's hard to explain, like uh, it's weird. Like I don't want to. There isn't necessarily anything that I want to do that I haven't done. I would say like my job is not my job. My life is very simple. Like I just go
Mhm.
to work every day and come home. Like I don't. I'm not a thrill seeker or an adventure seeker. Um, so it isn't like I could have did that probably when I was fat too.
Yeah.
Um, but um,
Do people treat you differently? Are you finding more people attracted to you when it comes to your love life? Are you finding people are nicer to you? Do people at work kind of gravitate more toward you now that you lost the weight, kind of thing?
um,
Or were you still kind of popular back then, and now it's just kind of
no, I was never popular. No. um, I've been in a relationship for almost 20 years now, so
okay?
with the same person for almost 20 years. So I've never had that experience, which is kind of like I would love to talk with people like who have had that experience, like after losing weight. So I don't have the knowledge on like what dating would be like after
Okay.
having a massive weight loss or anything like that. So I don't know. Like,
All right, you don't have to answer if it's too personal, but would you say that your relationship has improved since losing weight then? I mean, they were with you before, but were there aspects that are much better now?
yeah, I think so. I think so. I think at first it's kind of like jarring at first.
Because in some ways, some people like the fat and they lose interest because you lost the fat, and that's what they're attracted to. Or some
Yeah.
people are like begging you, please get help. This is impacting our love life. I'm not as attracted to you, etc.
Yeah, I don't think he was attracted to the fat. I think that it was more like um I just became different. I was probably more assertive. Um and I think he just had to get used to that part of me.
Yeah.
Like but I'm still very laid back for the most part. Like there's some things that I don't tolerate anymore. Um and I think that there's this thing in you that makes you think when you're morbidly obese, you think that you have to take people's bullshit because you have no
Mm.
other option.
Yeah.
You know, and I think that
That's a really
once
good
you
point.
lose the weight, you have that courage in you where you're just like, I don't have to take your bullshit anymore because I have options now.
Yeah.
I think that's jarring to them, that now you have options. Well, that's empowering, you know, like I think that having that power is what that's fearful for them, is that you have that power now. But I don't have any like desire to go anywhere, you know,
Yeah.
like, so, but it's nice to know that I'm not stuck with anybody because it's like the only option I have, you know, like it's nice to know that.
What's the best way to approach a friend or family member when they're overeating?
Ooh. That's always tough. I think honesty is always the best policy. And I think you have to have a conversation with them, but you have to make sure you're having a conversation with them that's definitely just a one-on-one conversation. You don't want to just call them out like at the family holiday, you know, like in front of anybody. But you have to do everything with love and with respect. Um, I remember my grandmother talking to me um, when I was young, and it did resonate with me. And that was when I was in my 20s, and I did put in the effort to lose as much weight as possible. And it was more like she came with it as she saw so much more potential in me than what I saw in me. And that if only I put in more efforts, that other people would see the potential as well. You know what I mean? Like it was like that kind of a conversation. And I think that is what resonated with me. And then I think if you come at people like that, that's what will make people change. You can't tell people, "Oh, you're fat. You need to take it. Stop putting that in your mouth. You're never gonna get skinny." Or you know, it can't be like that. It has to be more like something that's gonna. It's something deep inside of them that's broken, and that like you said, that food is not the problem. It's something that's deeper. That's the problem, and you have to reach that deeper part then to fix it.
Yeah, I would absolutely agree with that. Anytime anybody's tried to talk to me about it before, it never went well. So, I mean, you as a person should be prepared for it not going well, and you know in your heart you're doing it for all the right reasons. Don't nitpick at them at every meal and, oh, should you really be eating that type of attitude in front of everybody or whatever. Like, don't do that to them. You know, wait until later on when you're one-on-one with them, and just come at it with your heart, like, hey, you're really gaining weight and it's noticeable. And is there something wrong that you're overeating? Is there something you need to talk about, something you need to work out? And just sort of get into the health of it. Like, I noticed that you're breathing heavier when you do normal things. Like, you know, you're doing damage to yourself. And so again, it's not going to go well, most likely, depending on the person you're talking to and how close you are to them. They're going to think that you're judging them. And, you know, if they have an addiction to food, it's going to be like trying to take cocaine from somebody who's addicted. Like, I remember a time when I was younger, my younger sister didn't want my mom to smoke. And so, like, she tried to keep cigarettes from her, and my mom threw a huge fit. Like, it's not going to go well when you try to take somebody who's addicted and take that thing away from them. But at the same time, the best you can do is talk to them about it, warn them about what they're doing to themselves. But at the end of the day, if they don't want to change, they're not going to change. And so sometimes you're going to have to let people harm themselves to the point of it's going to become very bad for them, and they harm themselves doing that. And you know, people are going to have to change, like I just said, but they have to hit that rock bottom moment when things are really bad for them to want to change. So you can try to wake them up. You could try to show them My 600-Pound Life, or just show them the outcome of what's going to happen if they keep gaining weight, keep overeating. and hopefully that does change their mind. And that's what a lot of my channel tries to do, is just try to warn people, especially the fat activists who think they're invincible because they're younger, nothing bad's going to happen to them. I'm like, hey, I had that same attitude. I thought nothing was ever going to happen to me, and now I regret wasting the years that I wasted, and just being in tremendous amount of pain. Even now, after losing 250 pounds, I'm still in a tremendous amount of pain, all that stuff. So there are consequences for what she's doing, he or she's doing, and you're gonna have to talk to him or her about that. But again, you yourself need to be prepared that it's not going to go well, and it's going to be a consistent conversation to have. Again, don't nitpick, don't make fun, all that stuff that only drive them closer to the food and away from you. But just be prepared, it's not going to go well.
For sure.
Hey guys, so glad to have caught this. Really enjoying both of your takes on things. Thanks, Amy. Just got another question. Does Greg have problem with excess skin?
I did. I actually had skin removal surgery.
Okay.
And when did I have that done? 2021. And I went to Tijuana, and I had it done there. I have a video on that too. Made a video on my experience in having plastic surgery in Mexico.
I'll probably go back and watch it, but that's something that I'm not looking forward to, because I think it's going to be extremely painful. Was it painful?
Yeah, I'm trying to remember. It was. It's fun. I forget about it, but it was also, again, like, I was to that point where I was kind of like, it needs to go, like, and no matter what, it has to happen. So no matter what happens, it's going to happen. So, and I've always been that type of person. Like, I mean, I don't have any kids. I don't have any type of thing to like worry about in that regard. So I'm kind of like, when I had gastric bypass surgery, I'm kind of like, if I die, I die. If I don't, I don't. And same thing with skin removal. I'm kind of like, whatever. Like, if it happens, it happens. If it doesn't, it doesn't. Like, but either way, I'm not living the way I want to live this way. So it needs to be done either way.
Needs to be done, yeah. Was the skin removal more painful than the bariatric surgery?
Oh, yes. Yeah, a lot more painful. And so I had chest lift. It was done like under the armpits. And then I had a 360 lift, lipo, like everywhere. And then what else? The worst part was the muscle repair on the abdominal muscles. And then when they suck the fat out, they give you like a BBL too. So I had a butt. And then the worst part was the muscle repair. Like, it almost felt like I don't know, like, I would say I wouldn't even say 1,000 crunches. I would say, like, if I could do 1,000,000 crunches, it felt like that. Like, literally, it hurt to breathe. That's how bad the muscle pain hurt. And it hurt for probably about a week, like that. And then when you walk over like the Hunchback of Notre Dame for like a couple weeks. But the skin removal part, like, the scar itself didn't hurt. Like, the cut didn't hurt. What hurt is like I don't know if I want to describe this, but are you okay with gross at all?
Yeah,
or?
I mean, okay. Yeah, we have to tell the story.
So when they do the lipo, like, they kind of like pull the skin, off of the muscle, and then they like lipo underneath it, so that skin is like detached from your body almost. And so I remember like waking up from surgery, and you can like touch the skin here, and you could like move it around, and it wasn't like attached to your body. It like felt like water and liquid underneath it. And that hurts, because it felt like your skin had to like almost reattach back to the muscle. And if you moved, it felt like you not even just felt like, but you could hear it. It was like liquid, like water. You felt like you were liquid water. It was disgusting.
I don't want to do that now.
So imagine
I'm gonna
like,
have to.
you know, when you peel like chicken skin off, and it's
Yeah.
like it that's what I imagine it being like that chicken skin, and then like just like yeah.
Hmm.
But it only lasted for like a week. Like the pain only like a week, and you're well medicated for it too. So it isn't
Okay.
like it wasn't horrible. Like the pain, I guess the next day I walked out of the hospital. Like I had the surgery on a Wednesday, and I walked out of the hospital on Thursday. So it wasn't like I couldn't walk or anything, but it was worth it. It was
Okay.
absolutely worth it.
That's good
What
to
I
know.
Yeah, it was worth it. But it was definitely an odd experience, like for sure.
So do you have any other thoughts or questions or anything?
Let's see. I mean, I don't have anything. Do you have anything?
I think we're about done here. Not any more questions in here. If anybody else has any questions,
Oh, someone said about the what creators like. I watched. Let's see.
creators like Big T have been helpful to have in my ear to lose 150. Did either of you have any specific creators that helped you along the way? Sorry, I missed your question.
Yeah, the one for me was Obese to Beast. I don't know if anybody else watches him, but that was somebody that like I watched like for many years before I even had weight loss surgery, and actually, like I started watching him right when I had weight loss surgery, and that's kind of when I discovered his channel. And my brother actually watched him before that and told me about him, and yeah, so he's definitely someone that I still watch, and he's definitely like inspiring. He didn't have weight loss surgery, but it's still like that work
Yeah.
that he has put in to lose and maintain it. That kind of that inspires me to keep going. And he's also like he's like you. He's very nice, and the way he like talks about people is like very nice and kind to to people and things like that. So yeah, that's one of the creators I've always watched.
Yeah, definitely him. He's one of the first people I discovered on YouTube when I started watching YouTube, and just his journey has been very inspirational. I've been trying to get a collab with him, but I don't think he's too interested. I think there's kind of a separation with him from people who had weight loss surgery. While he doesn't disrespect people who had weight loss surgery, he's had people on who's had surgery. He says he has friends who have, but I tried to get him to collab with me, but he doesn't seem interested just yet. But that would be great to be able to do that. But he's definitely been an inspiration. And Shauna Steele, if you've watched him, he's a friend of mine. I was just emailing with him yesterday about stuff, trying to ask questions about YouTube. And he was one of the first people that I found just before surgery. I was looking at people who had weight loss surgery and just to see what the process was, because I was terrified. I just wanted to know how bad I'd feel, if I was at risk of dying, and all that stuff. And so he actually made a video for me. If you go back to any of his earlier videos, he made one for me, just kind of outlining stuff that he went through and what it was like. And so he was definitely an inspiration for me as well. And now I wish I was growing as fast as he is.
Right.
But yeah, there's definitely some people that have been very inspiring on their journey and stuff. Let's see if there's any other.
Yeah, sometimes I wish like I know that a lot of people's channels grew like crazy during the pandemic, and sometimes I wish like I would have opened like the channel during like in 2020, because I know like even like Instagram and YouTube and stuff kind of like dropped off.
Yeah.
Like it is what it is. Like I would say like I didn't really do it to for the monetary aspect of it, it would be nice, because then I would just put it back into the channel, like buy like some microphones and like some things that I actually need for it. But I did it mainly because, you know, I always felt like I wanted to leave something, like I don't have a, like I don't feel like I don't have a legacy. Like I never left
Yeah.
anything behind. Like so I felt like I wanted to make a channel just so I could like leave some type of a legacy for other people. Like even just like my nieces and nephews can like go back and look at this when I'm gone and see that I did something other than just have a couple selfies on Instagram. You know, like
Yeah.
there was more to my life than just that, you know.
Yeah, I definitely hear you on that. You know, I just wanted to tell my story and hopefully would help other people. And I think I did get a little too caught up, and not a lot of people are watching right now, but things seem to have dropped off, you know, a little bit. I think because we're getting closer to summer, and numbers do that. But yeah, I wish I started sooner. I had it in the back of my mind, like start a YouTube, chronicle your journey, and I just didn't for the longest time. And finally, just seeing Shauna Steele and what he was doing, I thought, you know what, that would help keep me accountable, and I would be able to help people who are, you know, help people the way Sean helped me. And so that was I'm glad I did it, and it's just trying to find content to keep up with and talk about and keep people interested. And
isn't it crazy how like you see like when you watch old stuff how much you have improved? Like
yeah,
like when you watch the old stuff, you're just like, oh god, like I should delete that, you know, like, and then
I mean,
I mean, whatever. It is
I
what
mean,
it is.
even the weight loss, I had somebody like the other day say, "Oh, I just went through all your videos and commenting on my older ones. I didn't know you had these older videos. These are great stuff." And but just the quality was terrible, and I was much
Terrible.
bigger, and you know, it's crazy to go back and watch those old videos. And I remember my first video sitting there. My name is Tony, and
Me
I'm
too.
first video on YouTube.
I did the same
Like
thing.
very quiet, very
And I'd be looking off to the side for some reason.
yeah.
And then like I'd have that, and then I tried to like, I was watching all these like people like how to make your YouTube videos better, and they'd be like, okay, you need to upload in like the best quality. So I'm like, so I had like a horrible phone, so I would take my videos I would record them in 720p, and then I would try to like, I don't know, like whatever, like up them to like 1080
Yeah.
and up to 4K, and then it would make me look like plastic. I looked horrible, and I would still upload them, and I'd be like, whatever, it doesn't matter. Like, at least it says 4K when I upload it. It says 4K on the thing, but it wasn't. It was terrible, but
Yeah.
whatever.
I actually had people who told me, you know, when you first started this channel, you were so nice and calm and telling people about your journey. But once you started going after my 600-pound life and, you know, going after the fat activist, you became a bully and mean. Like, I don't know what happened. You're just like Boogie and other people who, you know, got an attitude. And I'm like, I'm the same person. I didn't know what I was doing. I'm not a bully though. I'm a very honest person. I tell it how it is. I'm trying to warn people about the dangers. I just was very, very shy. And I'm still very, very shy because you know there's much more of a humor to me that doesn't come out of my videos yet. And so people are trying to, you know, people I know and personally, even Sean is saying, you know, you just need to relax a little bit and let the real you come out, and you know, not care about what everybody else is going to think. And he told me the other day, he said, you know, I still have people who subscribe to me and think I'm great, and then I make a joke they don't like, and then they make a comment about it, or I get a few people who unsubscribe and whatever. And I'm like, yeah, you just can't get into that mindset where it's like, I can't offend anybody. I have to be straight edge. I have to be quiet, and I have to. No, that's not what people are interested in. You're always going to offend somebody, though. You're always going to upset somebody, no matter what you do, what you say. You know, you just got to be yourself. People are interested in personalities and journeys and stories, and so that's kind of how I'm tweaking my YouTube channel now. Is just trying to tell stories, let more of myself come out in the videos, and not be so just caught up talking about the same thing over and over again. But with that being said, I'm glad that I had you on, and you're a nice guy, and I love your channel so far. The videos that I've seen. Anything coming up that that you're going to be doing and working on?
Yeah, so I'm doing the whole series about like different fitness icons. So I'm working on Jane Fonda and working on who's the other one? Susan Powder. I'm working on those two now, but I'm also doing some of my old stuff too. So I'll be having a couple of those videos coming out as well. So yeah, there's a bunch of different things coming, but I'm trying to do it not. I used to try to be obsessed about doing it every Friday, like having something, but to me, like the quality started like not being good. Like
Yeah.
sometimes I can't do them weekly. Sometimes it has to be every other week. Sometimes it has to be every 3 weeks. It just depends on how busy I get during the week.
Mm-hmm.
And I want the documentaries. I want them to be done like respectfully, and I think that if I rush through them, it's not done in a way that I like.
Yeah.
So those take more time, and so if it doesn't come every week, then it doesn't come every week. But yeah, there is going to be some more stuff coming next week. There will be Jane Fonda will be next week, and then yeah, there'll be some other stuff in there thrown in there in between as well. But yeah,
that's kind of where I'm at right now too. Just with school, full-time school, I am exhausted mentally.
yes.
And there's so many days I'm like, oh yeah, I got a good idea, I'm gonna make a video, and then just by the afternoon I'm like, I'm just so tired, my brain is fried, I don't feel like talking about anything. And so it's been tough for me to make videos lately, even though I absolutely need to, because it's been, I don't know, it's been a while since I put the last video out. So I'm glad to be able to do these live streams, because it saves me hours of editing time. And I'm still tired, but that's life. I'm going to have to pick up a schedule, because I say that the best thing for YouTube is consistency. If you put out a video, it has to be same day, same time, every day. Even if it's once every couple weeks or once a month, it's got to be that same consistency, because that's what the algorithm likes. And so I've been inconsistent for months now, and that probably is a lot of why my numbers have gone down. But it is what it is. Real life gets in the way, and but yeah.
Yeah, exactly. But like, I don't know, sometimes I'm like, the quality of it is more important to me.
Yeah.
Like I just want it to be done in a way, like I said, if I'm going to do it for not necessarily for the subscribers, but for like a legacy type of thing, like where I'm going to be proud of that my nieces and nephews look at something like that 20 years from now. I want it to be done right, like the way I'd be proud of it 20 years from now. So
exactly. Yep. All right, Greg, I appreciate you coming on the channel. And everybody watching, go to Life After Losing. I will put a link in the description after we get off air here. And yeah, it was really good talking to you. I hope to have you on again soon.
Yes, absolutely. Thank you for having me.
No problem. All right, everybody, we are off, and we will see you next time with Big T Bariatric. And if you are interested in coming on and talking about your story, send me an email at bigtbariatric@gmail.com, or you can look for me on Instagram, bigtbariatric84 on Instagram. And I will see you guys next time. Talk to you